Guten Morgen, Active Directory in OSCP is huge, so we will be practicing on administrator, the HackTheBox. We already have the credentials, just like OSCP, so this is good practice. First things first, I'm going to connect to the VPN from HackTheBox. I have custom commands. Then, of course, I have the port scan done already. I don't want to waste your time. We've got FTP, which is odd. Your classic Active Directory ports, SMB, LDAP, KerbeRoast. And also WinRM. If we have a remote management user, we should definitely look at that and get a shell on the machine with EvilWinRM. Here's a detailed Nmap scan, but let's move on really. Let's start a fresh new terminal, make it pretty. And I'm going to use NetExec to validate those credentials. And if you haven't used NetExec yet, it is a very handy tool. If you haven't used it before, get real friendly with it. You'll use it extensively for Active Directory. And of course, here we've confirmed the credentials. So I'll use the same credentials on ldapdomaindump. This is a great tool. Fetches all LDAP objects, relationships, and formats it into some clean HTML files. Since we have credentials, I'll just dump everything that my user can fetch from LDAP, and let's take a quick look. Let's get the domain users first. And we've got all the users. Ethan, Emily, Benjamin, and Olivia is a remote management user. So obviously my spider senses point me towards using EvilWinRM, and we have a shell as Olivia. Who am I? Administrator Olivia. Now moving real fast, let's get PowerView on this machine. I'll go to my usual web directory where I host all my binaries, start a Python web server, and invoke web request, get PowerView from my HTTP server. Now usually you can still use Bloodhound here, but I personally think you should be able to use PowerView efficiently and conduct manual enumeration as well. We can see that it's fetched it. Let's load in the module, and just to confirm that it works, I'll fetch all the users with getNetUser. Okay, that's too much information. Let's limit the columns. CN, last reset password, last logon, and also add the object SID. Actually, I want the display name in there too. Yeah, that's a lot better. Now, let me introduce you to PowerView's most magical function, find interesting domain ACLs. This tool dumps Active Directory access control lists that are set on non-default objects. So here we have Ethan, who has extended rights on the domain controller itself. We don't know what these extended rights are because the object ACE types are just GUIDs. And we also have more ACEs, ACLs. Emily has generic right on Ethan. Michael has extended rights on Benjamin, and Olivia has generic all on Michael. What a train! While we know the generic alls and the generic rights, the extended rights have object ACE types that are just GUIDs, and we don't know what those extended rights are. To get the actual names of those extended rights, let's use getObjectACL with the resolve GUIDs flag, and we'll filter based on the security identifier, or rather the SID number, which each user has. And in our case, you'll notice that the SIDs are all sequential. Let's copy Olivia's SID and look at the exact permissions she has over Michael. Now, we already know this is going to be generic all, so that's pretty clear. But for the squad, I would like to map out all the elements and components. Let's get a diagram. A user is Olivia, who has a relationship with Michael, and that is generic all. Sweet. Now in the background, I'll do the same and look up ACLs for Michael. Now with generic all, this means that Olivia can modify Michael's LDAP record any way she wants. She can do anything to that record. And then Michael has extended rights on Benjamin, and the extended right is a user force change password. This means Michael can now reset the password for Benjamin. Let's also represent that in the diagram. User force change password, or UFCP as the kids call it these days, onto Benjamin. Boom. And then Emily had generic right on Ethan, not Emma, Emily. Don't really need to do it, but I'll do it just for you guys. Boom. I'll just put it on the map. Emily can have generic right on Ethan. Now, when we check Ethan's permissions, we can see that he can perform DS replication on the actual domain controller. It has a couple of different object ACE types. And when you Google these two, or rather Google DCSync, you can see that Ethan can possibly perform a DCSync attack and get all the credentials that are stored on the domain controller. So I'll add that in the map as well. Now these replicating directory changes extended rights that we just saw are used to delegate the replication or backup tasks without actually providing domain admin accounts. But this kind of provides us a path straight to administrator. Now we just need to figure out how to get from Benjamin to Emily. And if we can figure that out, we can be administrators. So let's get cracking. To take advantage of these ACLs, we need to be interacting a lot with LDAP, and BloodyAD is a bloody good tool to be doing that for us. You can install this on your Kali, and you do not need to be on the actual domain controller machine to interact with the LDAP server. Since we have generic all, I could just rewrite the password for Michael, but instead I'm going to do a targeted ASREPRoast. I'll provide my credentials, and I'll add the UAC for Michael, which sets the don't require pre-auth flag. And now Michael's account should be ASREPRoastable. Let's use Impacket's get NP users module to request an ASREPRoastable hash from the Michael's account, and that works. That's the hash right there. And if Michael has a weak password, we should be able to crack it. I'll store the hash in michael.hash and hashcat mode 18,200. I'll give it the ASREPRoast hash Well, okay, well, that didn't work. Since Michael doesn't have a crackable password, let's just reset the password on that user account. So it's as simple as saying set password, username, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great, password's been changed. We'll verify that by connecting to the SMB server with Michael's new credentials and NetExec. And looks like we might have done. There you go. The green plus sign is proof that Michael's password is what we just changed it to be. So we've just abused the generic all permission by resetting someone's password. Let's do the exact same thing, because that's what the next extended right is, to reset Benjamin's password with Michael's fresh new credentials. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Michael, and hit enter. Boom, we've changed Benjamin's password. Validating Benjamin's new credentials with the SMB service again. And that's it. There you go. Now we have owned all 3 accounts. We currently have Olivia, and then, oh, I don't like that color. Let's go. Yep, there you go. We have Michael and we have Benjamin. And we just need to figure out how to get to Emily. During uncertain times, I always enumerate. And if we look at domain users, we can see that Benjamin is part of the share moderators. Like I said, port 21 or FTP on an Active Directory box is a bit weird. Let's see if we can actually log into the FTP service, provide the password, and boom, he does. Listing out the files, I can see a backup.psafe3. Googling that file extension, I found out that it's just a password manager. To extract anything from it though, I do need the master password. However, hashcat has a mode for psafe3 files, and it can crack, or rather recover, the master password for a psafe3. I'll provide 5200 as the mode, the actual file, and the rocku.txt file. Now it'll go through all the passwords, see if we have the master password in there somewhere, and it does. It does. We have te quiero mucho. That's the password. Easy. I've already downloaded the PWsafe binary to open this backup file. All I need to do, PWsafe backup.psafe3, and then enter the master password, and boom, we have some credentials. And so we find Emily Rodriguez's credentials. Paste that right there. Let's validate the credentials with NetExec. Emily, and then hopefully it should work. Green positive sign says Emily's credentials are valid. So we can mark Emily as owned. And it's time to now go on to Ethan. Now we've got generic right. It's not generic all, so I can't just change Ethan's password. However, for those of you who don't believe me, I'll still try and reset Ethan's password with Emily's user access. So here's the BloodyAD command. I've got Emily's creds in there, and let's just do set password Ethan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got an error, so I can't do that. So let's try a targeted KerbeRoast where the goal is to set the SPN or service principal name on Ethan's account. And in this case, we'll just add a HTTP whatever service. We've set the service principal name. And because we've done this, Ethan's account should now be KerbeRoastable. So we'll use Impacket's get user SPNs module, set the DCIP, the output file location, and provide Emily's credentials. Set the password and wait for a hash. Sweet. We have hashes.KerbeRoast filled up with Ethan's KerbeRoastable hash now. All that is left to do is to crack it with hashcat, where the mode is 13100. We have a password almost instantly because I cracked it before. Limp Biscuit is Ethan's password. So let's just run it through NetExec, see if it actually works. Limp Biscuit. And then Ethan, and we have some credentials. A positive plus sign yet again. Ethan is now owned, so we can just do a simple DCSync attack now. And the easiest way to do that from our Kali machine is Impacket's secrets dump module. I'll just mention the domain, the user, Ethan's password, and the DCIP, and hit enter. We should now start seeing some hashes, and we do. Look at that. I think I just saw an administrator hash, and I do. We can now use that hash to EvilWinRM into the machine as administrator by passing the hash. Administrator and the hash. Done. Oh, wrong command. EvilWinRM. And boom! Who am I? Administrator! I also made another video about how I got into DeepSeek and made it talk about things that I shouldn't talk about. And this video has my face on it. And one more thing. I just hit 100 subscribers. Thank you so much. Guten Tag.